doing. Um, I wanted to start this 70th year walking through a portal, feeling like I'm in the infancy of my elderhood, and was inspired by some other situations and people that I am going to take one day every day in this next year and journal, and over the very short list of something new that I have done every day. Something different. It could be, you're going to see me one day with my hair parted this way. I mean, it could be something just totally different that I've not done or haven't done in a really long time. And to get that presence of every day and those creative juices just moving through. So this is what my 70th year is going to look like.
Newness.
New. Just do something I've not done before. Really have fun with 365 possibilities of just who knows what each day is going to bring.
Infinite birthdays.
Well, every day's a birthday, right? Every day that we wake up alive, it's like, oh, I'm alive today. What do I do with it? So, yeah, that's where it is.
That's a great book title.
What did I say? Nuts in your teeth?
Nuts in your teeth. I'm alive today. What am I going to do with it?
Nuts in your teeth.
That could be. So, yeah.
Girl, you want to take that essence of newness and do our resonance for us, since you're so fresh and into this?
I could do that. Thanks. Resonance. Okay, here we are. Let's be together. Let's be. Let your breath open your heart. And be with each other in this circle of life, possibility, awareness, allowing the mystery of life to pulsate through our bodies, our breath, our blood, our bones, our organs, to inform us where we are in this very moment of now. Breathing into the mystery and the wonder, opening our hearts and our minds to the joy of not knowing, to the sense of our innocence and our play and our spontaneous energy of living. Spontaneous life, not knowing, being in joy, opening our hearts, appreciating every breath, and celebrating life and each one of us in that life flow together. I feel the gratitude and the love. And so it is that we open this time together.
Thank you. Well, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since we've been together. Let's do a check-in. We've already begun.
I'll jump in. just seeing you guys today, it's been, like you say, Julie, 3 or 4 weeks. I'm just, I'm noticing how happy I am. I mean, I'm a pretty happy guy most of the time, right? But I'm just noticing there's a different kind of a happiness factor here that's I'm noticing. I was out on the beach this morning raking, and met a new guy that bought a condo here. Talked to him a little about Ohana Legacy Foundation. Got people just saying, yeah, God, we need something like that. We got to get that figured out. This whole housing thing, not just here, but across the world. And also since we've been together, Marion's mom has transitioned to the other side. She was almost 103.
Oh,
And
wow.
so Marion had a chance to fly to Orlando or fly to Fort Lauderdale and be with her in her last hours.
Mm.
And had a very smooth and honoring completion with her. And also in the last 3 weeks, 9 of our friends have transitioned, and people you guys know too. Nick Gordon, one of the founders of Sunrise Ranch, passed. Dave Hibbard, Dr. Hibbard, Dr. Hibbard, probably John, transitioned. Rennie Davis, part of the Chicago 7, transitioned. And we had these beautiful online Zoom honorings of people's journeys, and it awakened in me a meaning that I hadn't really emerged before about what we're doing here with Good of the Whole and with Ohana Legacy. The notion of legacy is unfolding in me and in us, and a recognition that every person has a legacy, and we all, traditionally, we get honored, that legacy gets honored when we're past, when we're gone, and our friends talk about, oh, I remember when Glenn did this, or, Julie did that, and John did, our friends talk about us and, and laugh and cry and just remember the good times. And it's unfolding the notion of thinking about Ohana Legacy. That's community. That's our greater group of people that we hang with and love and support. And so Marion and I have been talking about how is it we can create a structure or a strategy to honor people's legacy before they pass. And some people, a lot of people are kind of starting to figure that out and do that. And perhaps there's a way we could do that in a more intentional way, and create a place to honor legacy, while we're all still here to appreciate that in each other. And Linda, you're moving into your 70th year. When I turned 70 a couple of years ago, somebody had an idea, and I don't know where it came from, but I created a little timeline, like ages like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. And I wrote in there all the different things that happened to me, kind of a timeline resume. And when I wrote that and looked back at, holy cow, look at these things that have gone on in my life to bring me to this place that I am today. And it was just, wow, that was like a huge awakening to, like, okay, I guess that's in the past and that's all prepared me. What am I going to do now? I know we talked about that. I talk about it all the time, go bold, and how big can we play, and what's mine to do? And it's like, well, you're 70, what's yours to do now? And how much fun is this? So I don't know, here we are, just doing what we can. And I know, Julie, you've just gone through, 3 weeks of an ordeal that I have a very strong consciousness that, that could have been the last ordeal that you went through. I mean, all of us are just, Marion came up with a phrase, life, it's a matter of time. And it's like, wow, just appreciating us for who we are and what we're doing. And we're all just, I don't know, we're all just continuing to awaken. John, you're getting ready to take a huge step of anchoring a bunch of things that you've done. And it's like, wow, isn't that cool? That's your that's a piece of your legacy that you're anchoring to give. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. So that rambled along here. So thanks everybody. So just appreciate you guys. So aloha.
So let me follow up on that. Glenn, beautiful. Thank you so much. Never put it in terms of legacy, but I remember back during the 90s when I was traveling around the country doing men's intensives, I came up with one that was probably the most powerful one of everything I did. And it was, if I can remember the name of it, The Joy of the Funeral. Had 12 men, and we spent the first 2 days doing ritual and going through. I had them bring in tokens of their childhood and their young adolescence and then their adult man in the world. And then the third day, I'd gotten this beautiful king's chair, and each man got to sit in the king's chair, and we did what people do in honor of the person that has passed, only they hadn't passed. And they got to hear from each man the impact that they had on this person. And it was really amazing. It was like resonance for the person that transitioned into the unified field before they went into the unified field. It was really amazing. So yeah, legacy, I think it is important. And it's like, and so here I am. I'll go ahead now with my check-in, and that is, I've been putting this piece off for years around, and a lot of people in this organization and group want to write a book and publish it and get known and make money. And I told Susan Crossman is the leader of this thing, brilliant woman, and I said, I don't want any of that. I don't, if any of that happens, that's fine, but that's not my motivation. My only motivation is to do this collection of pieces of experience that I've had in move, and Good of the Whole, I got to tell you, has been a huge part of condensing all of these pieces into resonance, into collective service. And I'm dedicated now, and it's a big dedication, I'm telling you, to put this together, but under really wonderful leadership, coaching. I remember when I played baseball for 20 years of my life, the coaching was so important. And so here I am about to take my writings and have them coached into coherence. And so that's going to be a major part of my life in the next period to come here. And it's a little frightening, but it's also very exciting. And just collection. I said, what do I do first? Because the first is these happen in like 3-day, 8-hour events, along with other coaching on the side. And I said, what do I do? She goes, do an audit. And I go, what do you mean an audit? She goes, take everything that you've ever written and put it together. Doesn't matter the form, just get it on there. Well, I have writings from posts, from written stuff that I have in journals, to stuff that I've done in Word, and audios, and they gave me this thing to do the audios in and transcribe it in, and I'm going, holy crap, I got enough for 3 books here, but a lot of it's just blah 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 blah. But anyway, it's a dedication, and I know all of you have gone through this. It's like, it's a focus. It's lasered in, and so that's going to be a big part of my life in the next year. And yeah, And again, this experience over the last 2 or 3 years with Good of the Whole has really been amazing. Meeting beautiful people and wisdom and the energy field, the flow that has allowed me to really shift how I operate in my external world because my internal world has shifted and changed. So deep gratitude for that. And as I said this morning, I'm not looking for answers. I want to help myself stay in the question of the greater expanse that is the unknown. And so that's kind of what my book's going to be about. Thanks.
Well, I am very inspired, John, because in this cabinet back here, it is filled with journals that I have been writing since I was 18 years old. And now here I am 70. And there's been a big pause in there because I realized, oh, I was writing so much about life that I just had to stop writing about it and interpreting it and all the thoughts that were pouring out on a page and just live it. And it was like, oh, I don't want to write about it. I just want to live it. And that's how it's been, except for today being the first day of the next 365 of my journey. If I have that many days, none of us know, right? But to expand that writing, instead of trying to get a little blip, of this is what I did today in a small little journal, I'm really feeling inspired by you, John, to just expand, let it expand. Like I don't have a goal or that it's going to be a book or anything, but to really let this life and what I've written about, but it's not even that, it's what is happening today, each day, each moment. And I know, Julie, you're like on hyper alert of present moment, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Which sounds funny, it's like, oh well, that would be in the future, but it's being in present moment and realizing every day something that I'm capable of doing that I've not ever done before. So my son-in-law and my son are real excited with this whole new thing. They're like, okay, so we're going to take you to a sushi restaurant. Like, I don't really like raw fish, but I am so willing to try anything. I will not bungee jump, but I am willing to try just about anything. And it can be the smallest thing or something that I have never dreamed of at this moment. So thanks for that inspiration. Yeah, and the legacy. I don't know if legacy is in a memorable statue or book or building or business. To me, the legacy is how much we can love in every day. And it's the people that we touch every day that is the legacy that we leave. Yeah, so, there's a song, I am 16 going on 70. Da, 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 da. That's how I feel. So, and as far as my check-in, I do have this conflict resolution document. We don't have to go over that today. I can just email it to everybody and you can read it as you want. Thanks to Marianne and Sharon and Amani and me. We just kind of collaborated and put something together that I think is a nice, easy 3-page foundation for us to work from. But I have it if you wanted, for today. If not, I'm here to play with whatever is happening. It's my check-in.
You reminded me, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 74?
And I think sushi in Kauai would be great.
Sushi in Hawaii, maybe. I am not going to say no unless it's dangerous,
I hear it tastes better in Hawaii.
Probably very fresh.
You know, they also serve cooked food in sushi restaurants. Just to let you know.
Yeah, you're the New York girl, right? Oh, well, this could be something for you now. And if I ever begin to like cilantro, that will be an amazing thing too. Because
Cilantro?
there are two types of people in the world whose taste buds either love cilantro or are repulsed by it. And I'm one of those not caring for cilantro.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
I've used it in my smoothies when I don't taste it individually.
oh, never
Yeah. Because it's a good detox. It's a good, you know, if you're going to put it in with other things. But anyway. So my check-in, not much new. I feel that I'm going to be pulling back from doing it every day. It will no longer be the daily heart coherence meditation. It will be the heart coherence meditation. I'm thinking it's going to be sometime middle of May, something. My website will go live probably 1st of May or so, in the next week and a half, 10 days. And I'm offering a twice a week meditation group. So that's part of it, is that I'm not sure I'm going to want to do both. What else? Not much new. Spring here is gorgeous. The flowers are just out in spades. So it makes me wonderfully happy every time I go for my walk in Central Park. And I know a lot of you know that I'm a huge Central Park walker. So I'm getting a lot of joy out of my walks in Central Park. Yeah, I feel very inspired by the things that you're doing. I'm thinking at some point I'm going to write a book. But I haven't been writing like you guys have been writing. So I think it's going to be something more along the lines of my journey to get to where I am now from where I've been. But I'll ping you guys when I get close to even wanting to think about doing that. What else? Not much. I just feel good. So yeah, nice to be here.
Hey, Julie, will you just repeat what you said at the very beginning about, I think you were talking about the early morning heart coherence. Sorry, I had to get in my car because my battery was dying. So I missed that one piece.
Oh, I said, I'm feeling, as John was talking about, pulling back on doing as much in the field. And I'm feeling it probably that I will be pulling back also and not offering it every day. That'll probably be 3 times a week. But I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. So. And I get a sense that the fire may not be happening every day either, starting in May. I met with the fire team meeting last week, and Christy's moving. She's not going to be in a place that she can host it anymore. Amani's feeling the need to be outside and on her doing her thing. So I think there's a lot of people who are, I think spring has really sprung people, you know, I mean, people are after a year of being in hibernation and I think we all have COVID fatigue, but we're also seeing the need, sorry, Julie, that you just had it, but I think we're all just feeling a need to be out more and doing other things also. And with so many people vaccinated, I think it's just shifting people's perspectives. So it's quite possible that the fire team will not be meeting every week. But I'll know more tomorrow night. Shuni and Judith and somebody else were not at the meeting, which would obviously change the picture if they were willing to step up and do more days. It's possible. Just bring it to the forefront.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Congratulations, John. Susan's amazing. Yeah, I'm just feeling pretty quiet. In Sarasota, Florida. Came to here to see my mom and dad. My mom turned 89, and just getting clear, like this is just the time to be with them, and staying with my daughter. So a lot of family time right now. That's why I didn't sleep very much because my daughter just got a new puppy last night. So been playing puppy mama, grandma. I guess for me, I've just been, until I came here, just plowing right ahead with the movie I'm working on, and everything, that coherence in my life with everything that I've been doing is playing its role in that movie. And that's been powerful. And just putting a book cover together for my book and formatting it. And I have met with the Resonance Council, and Henry's leading Good of the Whole. Henry has really plugged into the Diamond Heart community. And so he'll be doing only one more resonance on Mondays. And so that, and Heed has left. She wants to go deeper in terms of not being a part of the Monday call. And right now I'm listening and not taking on anymore. So just to want to drop that in here, as well as June and Oriana have asked to be part of the learning a little bit more about sort of the inner structure of Good of the Whole. They've asked to be part of the board. They want to know more, and they feel that there needs to be people, they can speak for themselves, but they're very interested in becoming board members for us, for Good of the Whole, which is very cool. They were incredibly excited about the possibility that they might be able to be part of that. So I'm just dropping that in because that happened last week. And
You mean board members or LC meetings?
no, board, they want to be, they would like to be part of the board. They feel like they've been part of Good of the Whole for a long time, and their response was Good of the Whole needs people who, on the board who really, have been involved with Good of the Whole. So that's their, they wanted asked to be brought forward in this meeting. I don't know what else. I mean, for me, I just feel like it's been a really quiet time. I've been also, and that was actually a mistake in terms of the digest. The Hoop of Many Hoops has been really my passion, and working with Ia, Daniel, Alda, Raul, and Malini. And Malini, I don't know how many of you know, but Malini ended up with COVID, and I talked to her pretty much every single day, and I haven't heard from her since about 4 days ago. Not at all. Like that's, so I believe she went into the hospital in India. She was really, really sick, and praying to, we've been holding a sort of a prayer circle for her, and but I haven't heard a word, and so I don't know even how to get a hold of her, other than the ways that we've always talked. So just holding space for her, and she's part of what we've calling this council the Hoop of Elders, and it's been completely incredible. Some more coming on that, and where that's going in terms of the Hoop of Many Hoops, really bringing forth a voice of weaving and listening for what our purpose is inside of Good of the Whole, and as quite a unique group, with various lineages and legacies really bringing forth that shared vision that was originally brought forward with Chief Shalane Jr. But this is taking a whole other level of coming in more deeply into truth and reconciliation. What is that for all of us? And what does that mean? And how do we live that way? And how do we create a space for people to, well, we just be it. We're just being it. And it's been quite exquisite. So can't really talk much more about that at this point. In regards to the unfinished business that is took hold of my life for the past 3 weeks or more now, Shuni, I guess it was on the day that we met on Friday, Shuni came forward and said she's ready for healing and asked me to, I think we're talking tonight. So that still remains as a slight little elephant in the room, so to speak. But so I'm doing really good. Happy to be in Florida and happy to be seeing you all, and just listening for what's next. I'm complete.
The birds are sure singing in Sarasota. It's nice to hear the sirens in Manhattan and the birds in Sarasota. My check-in, obviously, I've been in a whole different world. Just a whole different world of COVID fever, and started out gung-ho going, oh good, I'll get so much done. I have to be in quarantine, and then went to, oh, I'm really sick, I can't do anything. And then let go of everything. So there's a profound shift that I'm in the middle of still. And, if it's true that our RNA and DNA are doing new things, who knows what the result of this next phase will be for me. And so there's just a lot of, I'm in that still space too of knowing that this organism is reorganizing. Look at this. I mean, how many people just put things down and said, okay, what's next? And where are we at? And who will pick up what? I don't know who will pick up what. It's exciting to know that different people are feeling a different sense of responsibility, like Oriana and June saying, I want to be on the board, and like new, lots of new. So, I don't have much more to share. I'm in the spaciousness of staying very in the moment and allowing myself to be informed from that place. It's funny when you said, Linda, and you looked behind you and said all those years of journals back there, and then, oh my God, John, to aggregate all your work together, like to put that together to start a book. I'm like, I'm doing the opposite. It's like I'm throwing everything away. It's like I have a stack of journals my computer's sitting on right here. It's like none of it matters. None of it matters. So 50 some years of my life is like just clearing, and just letting go. So no more aggregate, no more compounding, no more bringing, trying to pull together and synthesize. It's like just staying in the no thingness, and allowing the no thingness to inform, allowing the impulse of life, which creates new in every moment, to just continue to create new in this moment. So I don't know what that looks like for me either. I really don't know what that looks like for me either. My daughter got on the call this morning and said, Mom, I had a dream that you birthed a baby for me. And so we started talking about what did that look like, that her mom was birthing a baby for her. But in that moment, it was like, yeah, like, look at all the new babies, look at all the new life, look at all the different ways of showing up and doing life differently, like following that impulse and to let life it, let life us. So staying in that question with you, John, not looking for any answers. I'm loving the unknown and the unknowing, and I'm finding when I stay in the unknown and unknowing, I'm more informed than I ever have been. So that's where I'm at. I don't have an agenda for today. We could go into Linda's stuff. We could talk about the unfinished business. We could put together an agenda, but I don't have an agenda, and I'm just here, grateful to be here. And it's just the dichotomy of Glenn going, oh, it's exciting to see you all, and noticing all the things that we're all starting to put down and shift, and everything, everyone is changing, everyone is shifting. So it's an interesting process that we be. So staying in that dynamic process. I don't have an agenda, so I'm complete.
Well, since there is no back for you to come back to, hello, Julie. I would say welcome back, but then, hello, new Julie. I just wanted to kind of bring up that the last 3 community coherence calls for good of the whole on Wednesdays have been a little bit different and surprising. Being in the moment, we have not done it the way it's been done. We have not gone into breakout rooms. We've just all been in conversation together. And we've been, well, whatever was coming through for me, because you had asked for me to facilitate. And knowing that you were sick with COVID, and we don't know how Malini's doing. This is something that we don't know day to day. If we're gonna get sick, if we're gonna get hit by a car, if we're gonna whatever's gonna happen. And so what we've been talking about in the coherence calls is the idea that what if we all, planet Earth, everyone on Earth, knew that an asteroid was coming and it was gonna hit Earth, and we were all gonna, within 2 weeks' time, that's all we had left. How would we respond to life? How would we live these days? And then the following week, I think John brought it up. He said, what if it was like, 1 week? Or what if it was today? Tomorrow, or what if it was tomorrow? What is the most valuable thing in your life that would make you want to do that, knowing that this is the last I have? And we had incredible responses of, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to go in my front yard and play my guitar and sing my heart out, or I'm just going to, sit with my family and snuggle and tell each other how much we love each other, or I'm going to have the greatest meal, or it's like really simple living things. When you boil it down to, would you be able to face knowing this is it, we're done? How do we live this? It's like Glenn, you're saying, living life. I forgot what I even said, but it was living life. Now what do I do with it? Here it is right now today. And I think that's inspired me for this new everyday, paying attention to doing life a little bit new, a little bit different, and not knowing what that means or what that will lead to, or if they'll just be random separate things. So I think for me, it's been a lot of awareness of the preciousness of life, of the value of life, and how am I living it? And when I get down to that, nothing really matters. I mean, we are leaving a legacy, but this too shall pass, 500 years from now, our books will be in ashes and our computers will be melted away, and who knows what, who knows? So when I think of the good of the whole, it is bringing that sense of living in the present and just living it with the joy and the love and the curiosity and the not knowing that we all talk about. So I think I'm feeling a very different dynamic with the human beings that have showed up in the Zoom rooms, that have showed up for the connection field. But I too feel like what Julie Down was, what you're saying about spring has sprung us. And I think we're all, well, I have to speak for me. I love the connection field, but I've not been in every call the way that I used to. Whatever calls me. And I think it is taking on a life of its own, and it would be nice if we could allow that to grow and take on its own life. And the people who have found each other and who have connected in the connection field will continue to do that. And we, we're always there. We're not. I don't feel like I have to be in it or even organize anything for it. But hopefully people will know that they can always come to us as the Leadership Council, so that we just keep that thread woven. And even if you pull back, like Julie and John, we're all pulling back from what we were doing, we're still here. And if we just let people know good of the whole is still here, there's a sense for me of I don't have an agenda either. I don't have an agenda for what might happen. We were going to do fundraisers, and we were going to do something for Earth Day, and we were going to do all these things. And if it happens, it'll happen. I am willing to participate in just about everything and say yes. But if it doesn't come as a, wow, here's the door open, go through it, then I'm not seeking it. And so I don't know where this is going, but I just wanted to let Julie Kroll know what we were doing in the Wednesday calls and how that's been unfolding. And I'd love to get feedback. John, you've been there all the time, and Julie, you have too. So I just kind of would just putting it out there as
I've really appreciated the group versus the breakout rooms. I think it's been much richer, honestly, to have it, to hear a wide variety of people's perspectives. Yeah, I've definitely appreciated it. Yeah, we've had a lot of interesting conversations. I mean, the one that we had where Ia and Martin were both talking about their experiences of being Black, and then Connie came in and asked if they wanted, her to feel sorry for them. And it was like, no, it was just more wanted to understand each other better, understand each other as people and the experiences of how they walk in the world. It's a very different perspective. The 6 white people in the room here, and then it's a very different perspective talking to somebody like Ia or Martin and what their experience is every day, especially with all the stuff going on in the world with the number of Black men, especially, that are being killed, by police officers. And so it's very top of mind. But I have very much appreciated the bigger conversation, because I think it's been, because sometimes you can be in a breakout room and people don't have much to say, or they want to philosophize, but other people really want to get down and get vulnerable. And so it's kind of nice to be in that space.
It has been good Wednesdays. I want to acknowledge something. Okay, so, and I'm not talking just the six of us, but when the COVID thing broke out and we had the inspiration to do what has been done in the last year, did a hell of a lot, gave birth a year ago to a process that came to us from the field, not any one of our ingenuity, but we listened and we saw and we experienced what was happening. We took the reins and said, okay, where do we go with this? And we followed the breadcrumbs and we did it. There's no question that as parents of that birth, it feels like it's time to pass it on to the children, and this is not hierarchical, that have come along, felt that vibration, and are ready to take reins in some way. And I'm totally grateful and honored to have been part of this thing for a year. But I kind of watch what's going on, just like you were saying on Wednesday mornings. The other thing is the hoop of many hoops thing. Brilliant, probably the highest level that I've experienced of a small group experiencing resonance, Indigenous, the future being played out right now and holding that ground. And I just want to, I've been listening of this evolutionary process of good of the whole, of the pieces that we lined out in order to hold it. And now there's this burgeoning of a new birth that is not quite the same as we did a year ago, but it is the evolution, the new birth that's coming through. And I'll just speak for myself. I don't feel like it's me holding that space anymore, because those that have embodied what we have offered for a year are really ready to take it to another level. And I see, my vision is I see other people on this advisory council now, other people leading these new fingers, arms that are going out into the field and receiving that information and carrying it and holding that space for others that will come in. Not that we, like you said, Linda, not that we are not still part of this, and yet, honor others in their capacity to take it where it's not our plan, but it's the plan that's evolving, and new members taking that on in also in coherence with what has been. And so I feel like I feel good about what has happened over the last year. Really held the space. Held the space for this evolution to happen. But it also feels like, just like whether it's spring or a year after COVID, or our deep work that we've done for a year has formed the groundwork for this next experience to happen. And personally, I don't feel like I need to be in charge or control of that, but honor it as it's evolving and not even judge it as like, oh, it's so different than what we did before. Good, you know. I see it as an expansion. And so agenda for today, you know, for me, it's like honoring what we've done and honoring those that are now, you know, like the torch is being passed, and really honoring those that are picking up the torch and saying, I'm ready to step in and go for this, and not be in stress or judgment as to where that direction is going, but just trusting the process. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
And talking about stepping back, I've also done the same with the slot that I was holding on Thursdays for the Ohana Legacy Foundation. I think there's just a better use of my time now to not do that and open that slot up for someone else to step in and offer some other program that fits into that area. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, I guess, in terms of that. And also I'm thinking, I don't know if this group needs to meet every week. Maybe we could just be happy doing once a month and reporting in and doing what we do. So maybe it does work really well to bring a new team into place, or an additional team or team members into place. That I wonder if Oriana and those guys would want to be, I don't know, leading the connection field in a way. How, I don't know, but I'm certainly open for the evolution of what we're doing. So allow the universe to just show us the way. So I'm kind of like with you, Linda. It's like I don't need to open the door. I just want to be able to see that there's an opening there, and then, oh, I can go through there. Okay. I'm complete.
I like the quote, be open for the evolution. Just being open for the evolution. Glenn, a couple months ago, you brought forward the idea of really supporting whole systems alternatives. And it feels like we're moving into a phase of way more self-organizing, that many different self-organizing initiatives can work through this organism, really creating a superorganism is what's happening, but that there's more autonomy, there's more, which, it's fascinating when we watch the evolution on the planet and how our species is moving toward more cooperation and care for all life, is when we're cooperating, but really differentiating and honoring the differentiation. When everyone's speaking of unity, we have unity and diversity and differentiation. It's like we all have to do our own part. Ohana Legacy Foundation is so Glenn Head. And it couldn't be anyone else. It's Glenn's to do and to bring forward and to express, and then to gather and to resource and to build and lead. And I love this idea of empowering the autonomy and the differentiation and the self-organizing. And Glenn, if you brought everyone that was in the Ohana Legacy Foundation into the connection field and everybody could see everybody, it's a whole different community than what's been here and what's shown up, but it's still a part of Good of the Whole. It's still a vital part of Good of the Whole. And that's what I haven't been doing me in that way. I haven't been doing what's Julie's to do. And I felt very oppressed in that for a long time now. So the idea of really fostering cooperative communities working together autonomously, supporting whole systems alternatives, supporting, Michelle brought that up in her hour today. She started talking about her family and how the impact change whole systems, to do systems change. And it was like hearing that dropped in the field was so exciting to me, that she was bringing that into the connection field, and people are talking about, oh, systems change, whole systems change. What does that really mean? So I'm feeling that autonomy today, looking at the 6 squares. Everyone's brought in their own unique expression of what's theirs and where you're at, and all the newness and all the rebirth. And I feel like this organism does want to just support myriad expressions of whole systems health, myriad expressions of living for the good of the whole. What does that look like? It's not one thing. It's not a program. It's not even the university that we want to do. It's like the university will bring alive everybody that's doing everything. It's like it will bring forward what wants to be shown. And so that part's exciting for me, of just thinking in terms of, what is this big umbrella that wants to bring life forward for the good of the whole on the planet? And how does that umbrella want to work as a structure that can support and really uplift and really, there's a word beyond support and uplift. It would be, I don't know what the word would be, but it taps into our innate ability to co-create with the impulse itself. It's like all of us becoming intimate partners with the impulse of creation and allowing evolution to move through us on behalf of the good of the whole, by each of us stepping into our own true, sounds funny to say true nature, but true expression, true purpose, true evolutionary purpose, and go for it. So anyway, I just was thinking back on, Glenn, some of the language you brought in a couple months ago was exciting to me. And I think that's on the table too, of this reorganization is doing us. I think none of us are doing it. It's like doing us in real life, and that's exciting. So with that, I'm complete.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you were saying, Julie, that our true purpose is, I didn't write it down. Our true purpose is, evolution is showing us our true purpose, or we're living our true purpose through evolution. And it's like, which is it for me? Is it, I think evolution is pulling us towards our purpose. It's not, I don't feel like it's me having a purpose and then watching myself evolve because I have a purpose. It's being pulled in that impulse of evolution, and that is showing me my purpose. Because I don't have that first. It's like I'm following it. It always turns out magnificent. I mean, I've had 70 years of experience now of wow, to just say wow. Like all the things that we look back on, the 10 years and from 10 to 20 and 20 to 30 and 30 to 40. And when we allow the impulse of evolution, the true nature of evolution to pull us, we are in it. We're finding it. We're finding more purpose. And maybe the purpose is to just follow it without an end goal, without a beginning goal, without even an understanding. It's like, I feel that I agree. There's so much changing right now. Whole systems, looking at the whole systems of our policing, the whole systems of war, and what has that brought us for the last 20 years? The whole system of our food growing. The whole systems are like breaking apart and then coalescing or cohering in new ways that are going to serve the good of the whole, even though we're so caught in it. It's almost like being in a great big wave as a surfer, and you get knocked off your board and you're in all the bubbles and the swirls and the water, and you're in it. You don't know exactly where you're going to end up. And I know it sounds like I'm kind of babbling, but it just really struck me that we are in it. And things are organizing themselves around us. But when we tap into it and say, I'm aware of you, life, I'm aware of this evolution, then I think it works through us better, more strongly, more purposefully. It's working through us when we are open to acknowledging this miracle and the mystery. Did that make any sense? Or am I just babbling? I'm in Babylon.
Once you reach 70, babbling is pretty much okay.
Normal.
Great.
But when you start drooling, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
I guess I would say it's a both and. I think there's something about like having or thinking like John deciding to write a book and having that be a purpose. The inspiration to have to write the book becomes part of his evolutionary journey. And as he steps more and more into his purpose, his evolution will continue to go. So I think it's a both and, that they become fuel for each other. Just like an intimate I mean, John's going to go through so many interesting things with writing a book. I mean, it's not going to be collating all the writings that he has. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come up for him. I mean, Julie can talk more to it, being the author that she is. But, just like me launching my website, I mean, I had this purpose that I was going to do something and step into being an energy channel, which is, real estate agent to energy channel. It's like, how did that happen? Really? And by stepping into it more and more and more, I'm seeing the evolution of myself while I've been stepping into it. So I think it's an and versus an or. I love the both and. So, and I apologize, but I have to leave right around 3:30. So I just wanted to give you that since I was on anyway.
Or aren't we having some fun today? So I'll drop down kind of into the sort of the nuts and bolts of some things. I had a long talk with Grace about looking at Ohana Legacy Foundation and the idea that Good of the Whole would do these DBAs. And one of the learnings that's emerging for me is that doing a DBA may not be what we want to do as much as I thought about this and experience in this going forward. And so the idea that's emerging is that perhaps the organization Good of the Whole creates a template and a mentoring process to enable people like Grace or Linda with Pachamama Pajamas to move forward in the creation of I'll call it a nonprofit, a non-profit capitalistic expression that enables you or supports you in creating your own nonprofit that's independent of Good of the Whole and carries the imprint of Good of the Whole. In other words, it's kind of birthed through our relationship and our mentorship with a common set of values and agreements and processes that we can support the creation of that, but keep it as a I don't know, maybe as a child, but it's really having it more to be on its own. And I've been brought to that conclusion by the sort of the awakening that if I, as Ohana Legacy Foundation, for instance, need to rent office space or need to take out a loan, for instance, for a working capital loan or for funding or whatever, it ties up the Good of the Whole parent organization in a way that I don't know that we want to entangle those sort of legal tentacles. So the board at Good of the Whole would have to approve that loan and be co-signers or be actually be the holder of a lease that the Ohana Legacy Foundation might want to undertake. And so I'm seeing this potential entanglement that we probably is not in the best interest of Good of the Whole to both restrict the capacity of our branches to expand, but at the same time, how do we nurture and support that expansion? So I'm going through that evolution, in my thinking of how we best support the growing of these branches of our tree. So that's just something for you guys to maybe have an awareness of, and we'll talk about that more, answer questions, whatever it might be. So that's where my thinking is evolving most recently.
I guess I just have a quick question. So what in the 3 weeks that you've been sick, Julie, and this new person that has been, taking as part of the administrative director of Good of the Whole, I'm just curious at what has anything happened over those 3 weeks with her and her responsibilities and in regards to whatever. Did that just come to a standstill when you got sick, or did that continue? Did she work on, or just I'm wanting to know what was happening with that.
That's a good question, actually. And I really have been in a place of not tending to anything. So with Kelsey, when she came on right before I got sick, she was in Chicago on another job, and she just began her orientation by jumping into Kajabi University and learning Kajabi inside and out. So for the last couple of weeks, she's just immersed herself into all of our technology platforms and Kajabi, and just getting to understand the nuts and the bolts and the ins and the outs, and what is the membership program, what's the education program, how to begin to launch some of those things. So she's been full on into technology with very little orientation or anything yet from me or anyone. So that's it.
Is it possible that we can meet Kelsey?
Sure.
Like bring her on to one of our Monday calls, or if we're going to do it once a month or twice a month, to establish that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So just before we close, I feel like there's a lot in the field to, I don't know, like 12 years ago, we used to call the evolutionary impulse the mother wave. That, just has been described, this force of nature that innately loves and is innately intelligent and is pulling us into our higher order always. And that sort of fed itself into the work with Barbara Marx Hubbard, and now, and I'm just kind of feeling it inside of me, and just listening for what's my, who we are as a collective, and the thing that came to me was, as I've been listening, is this energy of surviving or thriving. And thriving, the word kept popping up as each person was speaking. How does this organism thrive? And so is in that reorganization, just because frankly, as I'm listening, it's like, okay, Henry's out, Nahid is out for now. I mean, not that these people aren't showing up in the residence lounge or showing, loving to show up on one particular, on Pamela's Thursdays, but essentially, John needs out from the residence lounge. These are things that are actually quite immediate, and need, the organism is actually asking for a response. Like, well, okay, well, what are you going to do? And yes, of course, on Wednesday, that would maybe be a good thing. And, see who wants to cover that. And also the Monday calls, will they continue? Because I don't know that I want to put my energy in that way anymore. And without Nahid and Henry, that leaves only really June and Oriana to run that call. And so that might be shifting. So I guess I just kind of wanted to just put out this word about thriving, because in order for this organism to thrive, there has to be an interconnected, expansive web of a web of interconnection, a web of connection that is, is really bringing in the new information into the actual living organism, the nucleus, the neutrino, that's what's coming to me. It's like, and that isn't happening. And that's a real important thing to just to breathe with and digest with, because and maybe Kelsey's the person that knows how to actually do that. But I know for me, like I've done that for years, and my body doesn't want to do it anymore. Like, I do it naturally and expand into different various circles and horizons. And so I think that that's something that I just wanted to be dropped in here. How does that nucleus get fed so that it can grow? And some of the different, with the fire changing, if it's only 3 days a week, will it draw, because the cycle of people that are happening now in the connection field, because I've gone in different ways, it's always the same people. There are very few new people, and that is a reality. And it will, if some of these programs are dissolving in some way, it won't continue. And that's okay if that's what's going to happen. But we have to have that be really understood, that that has been the community functioning, and maybe it doesn't need it anymore. It'll remain to be seen. But that's what kept coming to me, was like this piece about thriving. And I think that's not something that is just it's sitting in that liminal space at this point. So anyway, I just felt like that was really important to just bring in, and whatever that meant. Maybe I was babbling too. I don't know. I'm not 70 yet, but on my way. So I love you all, and thank you.
I think we are in a liminal space. I mean, I personally feel in a very liminal space, which is very exciting. And I feel, for good of the whole, at least my participation in it, it's exciting as well. That maybe not, well, certainly not forcing anything to happen, but there are people, even though there's a new generation of us right now, they're there. And what gets drawn in from that, we don't know yet. And it's a little scary, and it's also takes a lot of courage to stay in the liminal space long enough for the evolution to actually take place. Yeah, so just like Julie Kroll, you were saying this morning about this guy, I can't remember his name, Tom or whatever his name was, came in unbelievably excited. Those people are going to show up, and not many in numbers, and I'm not so sure at this point massive numbers out of the liminal space are going to all of a sudden pop in, but the energy field coming through those that are present. I mean, look at Martin and Ia and Alda and Daniel, and these very key players bringing in their influence. It's still there, and I kind of feel as though the liminal space that we are in right now is offering the energy field to reformation. And can we trust? And yes, Glenn, I love what you were saying. Maybe it's not about DBA. Maybe it is about, and I can just say, from my experience so far with this new book writing, is I have no idea about a form to put my writings into. And yet I know that what I'm in it for, and I told Susan Crossman this, I need a form that I can then take what I have and put into. And I feel like all of the people that are on the verge right now, on the prowl for taking their unique gifts and talents to pop it into a form. And And it's not about money, it's not about authority, but it is about, like a container. And so out of this liminal space, can this container be structured enough that people are willing to bring their gifts and talents, are excited about bringing them in to good of the whole, because there is a forum there that they can put their input into. And, maybe at this point, out of this liminal space, we just pay attention to what's being called and say, okay, like Glenn, you said, maybe it's not DBA, but it might be this thing or this structure that then will be a really a powerful invitation to those that want to bring whatever they have in and through. And it takes courage on both ends. It takes courage on ours to hold this space, and it takes the courage of those on the outside to bring themselves through. And it looks like it's kind of yet to be determined, but that's, the whole world's doing it. Like you were saying, everybody is waiting for this new thing to come into view and jump on board. Otherwise, they're going to try to reform what it already is that isn't working, and that really is not going to cut the mustard. So here we are. We're on the verge.
I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye. Sorry to have to leave.
Thanks, Julie. Have a good day.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It is 2:30 and I am being called in a few different directions. So are we going to meet the first and third Mondays of the month to keep it easy? Checking in. We'll still have our Wednesday call, right?
So hey, Linda, I just want to bring in something that's really important. I don't know, we can leave this and we can talk, but I'm still getting like these calls, like telling me, like even from Glenn, like, hey, I'm not going to show up. And like, what is happening with the connection field? Because that's something that, whether we meet 1 or 3 weeks, 2 weeks from now or whatever, is something that there's this definite, maybe you're getting more of, I mean, should I just tell everyone to go to you? Or what, like who's
Wait, I don't
deciding?
understand your question. You said everybody's asking what is happening in the connection field?
Yeah, exactly. As an example, Glenn said, I'm not going to be there any Thursdays anymore. I'm just letting you know. Well, I'm not the person to be letting know anymore. And with John asking, well, I need somebody to take over for my calls, like, how does that work? I'm just putting it out there just to figure it out at some point, like, because what's happening is this is a very vague piece around the connection field and what to do with it, or if someone has a problem, who to call, and what's happening. They're going inside the connection field team. But just to drop that in, maybe you and I can talk or something. I don't know. Like John was asking all of us, but who is it that John actually? How does John fill his space? Does he just show up on Wednesday and ask people? I don't know. This is just like a gap that somehow needs to be filled, like, so that people do have an understanding, or, yeah, that's all.
I wonder if we should compose a collective letter and put it in the digest that just says we're in a liminal space. We're changing, we're growing. These spots are shifting. Who wants to step up? That's just, I don't know.
As part of that, we might back to maybe bringing Kelsey into play, as she's now understanding the platform, and maybe she becomes the one that maybe works with Martin, who actually is writing the digest, I guess, from what you told me, Shelley. To
Well,
create the,
his last letter was that he's moving out. I don't know if that's changed, or maybe Linda
Right.
knows, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's been showing up, and he's still putting the digest out. I haven't talked to him personally about it, but you know, he's showing up. There's this creation station on Friday afternoons. He's there. I just see him, you know, we pop in and out, and we talk every once in a while on a chat. I haven't even met Kelsey. I wouldn't know how to even get in touch with her to talk about anything to organize this. So yeah, I appreciate that, Shelley. There's a space there, and it's like who none of us want to be the manager of the connection field. I know that. So in this moving out, how do we and maybe it's, I don't know if June and Oriana, if they just want to do the residence council, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know. A lot is changing. That we know.
yeah, and I'm sure Kelsey's not ready to jump in and do that quite yet, but going in some kind of that direction of what's the channel that new people can come in that might have offerings for the connection field, and what's that channel for them to come in, and that application form that they create, and then that committee who reviews that and says, yes, you can have an hour on the connection field to teach this or to teach that, which begins the blending process perhaps with the connection field with our university platform, to kind of begin to blend that together, you know, with a donation button, or some programs that might have some fee associated with them in some new way. But that whole mechanism of allowing new thinking and new emergence of people to come through and be part of the field and offer what they offer.
I would just say, I just had a thought, and just so that this doesn't have to like per-debate here, but so Linda, why don't you put out that there's going to be a meeting on Friday for the connection field thing, because nobody's showing up at all anyway. And anyone who wants to have anything input into the connection field needs to show up at that meeting on Friday. Where I don't have anything going on, but, and then maybe that's a way to, because without it, you know, I hear what you're saying, Glenn, but without it, you can't, you know, new offerings or whatever, other than the people that are already in, it's not really going to happen. And it's very ambiguous at this point who they talk to and what those things are and who's going to be writing those protocols or applications, or, you know, so I just think a starting point, because things are shifting in the connection field, those people that have an interest need to show up, and then you know who those people are.
So it's not just a team meeting. This is open to anyone in the connection.
I think I think it needs to happen, because I mean, then it's going to get clear, you know, who's really present, who wants to participate and who doesn't, or who just wants to have their own little program. So, you know, if there's nobody controlling it anymore, like, you know, and I think it's a perfect place to say, hey, John's not going to be doing Mondays or that slot anymore. Who wants to do it? And then you meet the energy of who wants to show up. You know, what is it?
So I don't have a list of all the people who come into the connection field, but maybe to write something and post it on the Facebook page of the.
I think it should go on the digest.
Oh,
Put a note. Put it. Maybe it's just a simple. Because I feel like it's so ambiguous that people don't know who to talk to. They don't know where it's going, and people don't love it when it's just a liminal space. You know, I mean, we can say, oh, it's liminal, but they're going to say that's what's been happening good enough for a long time, you know. So I think it's more just giving people an opportunity to be present, and we're going to have a connection field meeting for anyone who's interested in participating more. That's just what came to me. That would open up the energy for what's new, what wants to be let go of.
So that would be 11 o'clock Central Time on Friday, the 23rd.
No, yeah, okay, sorry, Central. Yeah, Central.
Central.
Yeah. But I would say it in Eastern, everyone's used to Eastern, thinking Eastern.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, I wrote that down for me.
So anyway, that leaves an
Write a-
opportunity
write
for,
a letter. So I'll help Martin with a letter. You and I can write a little something, or I'll
I
just
would just keep it really simple. Just
show up.
just show up if you're interested in, this is an open meeting for people who are interested in propagating, or whatever the word would be, the connection field. If you care about the connection field, show up.
Okay.
And then see who shows up and see what their interest is. And
Are you going to be at that Friday meeting?
no,
No? Who's going to be at?
oh, I'm only joking. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll help get clear on what's dissolving and what's emerging. And John, if you cannot show up at all, because that would be great, even for a half hour. But if not, that's fine. But because it'd be helpful to just kind of get it. I think it would give a feeling for what is really happening, and what needs to be let go of and going forward.
And who wants to step forward?
And who wants to step forward. And that includes inviting Michelle and Grace, they want to keep going in their spot. This is a time for just what's happening, same thing that's happening here, just this, being fully present in love and transparency, and what's changing for each person.
I think it's healthy. It's like a child, who's gone from kindergarten and starting first grade, or from preschool to first grade. It's like, you have to go through steps to grow up, and we're doing that. Becoming more independent and taking on new.
I think it'll give a pulse to where things are. Like if Julie, even with Julie Down saying, I may not be doing this anymore, or doing it only a few times a week. What does that actually really look like? Will people even, how does that really work for the connection field? What is in the highest good for that aspect of this organism, an organization, I mean, maybe it's like dissolving part of the connection field for a while for, maybe it's just mornings and at night. I don't know what it's going to look like anymore. Just like Julie's describing, nobody has an idea of what it's going to look like.
It is sort of taking on a life of its own. It is.
Always has.
Like there's free time, and then there's new time.
So sorry to keep us longer, but I was just realizing, like, wow, man, if we leave this meeting and just there's so many variables moving at this moment that it's important to just get that pulse. So I'm complete. And
I just want to wish everyone a happy Earth Day. Week. This is Earth everything. So, Earth Day is not just one day, of course.
It's not.
Changing. It's not.
It's not just one day. And I want to say, I just sent you guys an Earth Day present from my friend Roger Briggs. If you want to take a look at this interesting book that he's just published, and it's I'm only about a quarter of the way through it, but it's a very interesting, easy to read story of our evolutionary journey from the Big Bang forward. And since Roger was close with Barbara and us, we worked with him at the City Club to create a foundation, an institute at the City Club there in Boulder to look at the evolution of humanity. And so I'm really curious to see how he's going to take that. And Julie, he could be an interesting person for you to talk to on your show as you see this unfold. He taught high school physics for 30 years, so he's got the capacity to communicate at a level that people can understand. So I think it's anyway.
Well,
Happy
so
Earth
that's
Day.
something I can participate in, unlike your, what's that group that I can't do because I don't have an iPhone and I'm excluded?
Oh, Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Somebody else asked
Clubhouse.
me the other day, you love Clubhouse? And I said, well,
Yeah, and I just learned that it's going to open up to Android stuff probably in May. So it's evolving. So it's coming for you. So, but yeah, Clubhouse is a very interesting app for you guys if you haven't been on it yet to see what's going on in terms of it's connection field on steroids without the overlay of the resonance, although resonance can be created by the holders of the various rooms, and some are doing that. And so it's a very interesting structure, and there's a jillion people getting involved with it. So
I'm willing, but I'm an Android. Sorry.
So I just want to thanks. And Glenn, if you want to hook us up for a radio show, just connect us via email or something. But to go back to the connection field, and it feels like it needs to self-organize, like John is saying, that there's potential here for it to grow and expand beyond us or not. And I feel as if, the connection field is a program of good of the whole, and who we be in this moment of liminal space is that it is time for conscious dismantling, conscious emergence, conscious evolution. It's like, let us consciously dismantle what needs to go, where we are beyond. And it's okay that people are uncomfortable with the liminal space. And yet we all know if something's going to grow and thrive, like Shelley mentioned the word thrive, and it needs good leadership. And I don't see anyone on the screen of 6 that wants to step in and provide the leadership for the connection field and what that means. So let's really honor the conscious uncoupling, the conscious dismantling, the conscious emergence, and allow, and Linda, in your invitation for the meeting, to invite self-organizing. And we can talk about it Wednesday too. If you want to start that meeting, Linda, and I can do a theme for the day or something, we can talk about the Wednesday meeting. Maybe the Wednesday meeting is going to change, the coherence, community coherence. What does that really mean? But we can announce it on Wednesday, get people there, get it in the, or maybe send out a special email that's not in the digest so people don't miss it. But it is about their opportunity. I think you're right, John. We've shot off sprouts. It's like that spider plant, and there's all these little new sprouts, and there's older people who have been here a very long time shifting in their leadership too. I mean, Grace is on fire. Michelle is on fire. They're doing some amazing things, and I can see their expression coming in a whole new way as well, in refinement.
And Ia's soul talk, that's really deep.
Yeah, and that's growing, so it's like I think there could be a small group that could manage the connection field, just a 3-person team that manages it. And who knows what could happen when we let the kids out to play, if that's what it feels like. It's like, let's just open the doors and let them out and play. So that's all I wanted to say.
Love you all. Great meeting. Thank you.
Love you all. Thank you, John. Thank you all. Mwah. Happy birthday.
Love you too.
Linda.
Glad you're feeling better.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Linda.
Happy birthday, Linda.
Woo.
Very happy.
There's someone at my front door.
Very happy. Sushi's waiting for you on Kauai. Come on, girl.
Yes.
Come
You
on.
guys, someone's at my door. I gotta go. See ya.
Okay.